Welcome to KMET 1490 AM ABC News Radio and the Southern California Business Report, a show dedicated to highlighting successful Southern California businesses and the people behind them, with Daryl McCance and Yvette Walker. And now, here's Daryl and Yvette.
Welcome to the ABC News and Talk Southern California Business Report with Yvette Walker and myself, Daryl McCance. Special thanks to our team at the station, Bill, Sean, and Jay Kaplan. Catch Jay Kaplan's show every Friday at 3 p.m. And to our advisory group, Bill Morris, Diane Cavallo, and Nina Rubio. We are live blasting our signal from the center of Southern California. Inland Empire in the greater Los Angeles area to our west, the Desert Empire, and all the way to San Diego to our east, Temecula Valley and Orange County to the south, and our local mountain communities all the way to state line to the north. We focus each week on successful businesses in the Southern California region and the people behind them, from awe-inspiring sole proprietors to world-renowned organizations in all areas of our economy. Today, we get to have some fun. We're focusing on entertainment. As customary, we'll have Yvette Walker do the honors and introduce our guest. We're very excited. We've been hoping to start our year out with this guest. And without any further ado, Yvette, would you take the honors?
Absolutely, Daryl. Thank you so much for the honor of introducing our next guest. Mitch McClellan is an Inland Empire native, born in Redlands, California, and has been in the field of broadcasting since 1988. He has been the KMET General Manager since 2003. Prior to joining KMET, he was the program director at KUOR Redlands from 1990 to 2001. He attended Arrowhead Christian High School in Redlands and San Bernardino Valley College. When Mitch isn't managing KMET or attending to his business of producing college football and basketball broadcasts, he enjoys traveling. He produces broadcasts for the University of Redlands football and Cal State University San Bernardino basketball, and also has done a variety of TV and radio games for colleges and events all over the West Coast. Mitch's specialty is broadcasting live, play-by-play for over 50 games a year on stations throughout the West. Thank you so much for being with us today, Mitch.
Great to be with you, Yvette and Daryl. And I like that introduction, blasting across the Inland Empire to all parts of Southern California. Let's go with that. I like that.
Did you like that? Now we know, Yvette and I know one secret. We won't show all of our cards right away. We know your secret passion, and I would imagine listeners may have already figured it out by now. But we're going to ask you, tell us why you got into broadcasting and how you got in broadcasting. You're obviously running, the ABC News affiliate for this center, broadcasting out of the center of Southern California. Give us a little background.
Well, I guess the first thing I would say is there's an old saying, and you hear sayings all the time growing up, and you never really put much stock in them until you find out that they apply to you and they're true. And that saying that comes to mind is, find something you love doing and you'll never work a day in your life. And it's really true. I discovered radio at an early age when I was in high school. TV came after that, but just kind of enjoyed doing it, and it was fun to do. And, if you enjoy something, hopefully if you enjoy it, you become somewhat good at doing it, and you make that a career if possible. And that's kind of what happened to me. The other thing is, I would say I know so many people that are successful in their careers. They are great at work, but they hate going there every day. They just get up in the morning and dread it and look at that clock all day long until they can get home or until they get to the weekend. And I'm lucky. I don't have that problem.
Isn't that great? Well, we know KMET is your baby. And can you share with the audience the format of KMET? Because I think, Yvette Walker and I, we're just very excited. We focus on success, positivity, people's strengths, and without letting the cat out of the bag, kind of talk about the format and the direction that that the station that you're responsible for, which is, obviously an extension of all your lessons learned over all these years. How would you describe the format of KMET, ABC News and Talk, if you would?
Yeah, well, it's pretty simple. It's, I think news, talk, and sports in a nutshell really sums it up. Now, if you want to get a little bit deeper, there's more to it than that. But when you take a look at what when radio is its most successful, it's live, it's local, and it's relevant to the community. So if you're going to do that, you got to have, particularly on an AM station, you've got to have some news at the top of the hour. You've got to have, some weather. Obviously, Southern California, most people can look out the window of the car or their office or their house and see. But, you still need to have a little bit of a weather. There's that, the weather in Palm Springs is different than it is in Ontario, for instance. So just a touch of weather, some news every hour, and talk is really our bread and butter. A variety of talk, really. You say talk, some people think political, some people think financial, some people think lifestyle, some people think sports. Well, we have a variety of all of that mixed in to our particular format, but the majority of it is live. A ever-growing portion of it is local, and it's relevant to the community, and that's what makes a good station.
Well, that sounds
Absolutely
wonderful. That makes complete sense, Mitch. So as a soccer mom and now a football mom, I can tell you that I spend hours upon hours listening to the radio, and I look for, good quality content, and I like to feel like my brain is actually growing. So can you tell me why you and the listeners at KMET love radio, and maybe touch on what you've seen of the growing market share of radio?
I think, I would say, for people my age, or even people in their 30s and above, you grew up with radio. We didn't have as many choices then. Now we've got cable and satellite TV, we've got podcasts, we've got the internet, we've got Netflix, but we didn't have all those options. So honestly, that's probably part of it. We grew up with radio. There weren't as many options. And we got used to it. And in Southern California particularly, with the car culture is so big, I think that's part of it too, because if we were in New York and Chicago, we might be on the subway or the L going to work every day, but we're not. We get up in the morning, we walk outside, we get in the car, we drive to work, school, whatever. And as soon as you turn that car on, the radio is going to come on with it. And what our research continues to show, not just KMET, but nationally, is over 90% of people listen to the radio every day, and nobody else can say that. When you look back at the history of radio, we kind of talk amongst ourselves for people that have been in radio quite a while. It's the one medium they've always tried to kill off. When you think about it, it's like it started in the 20s, and the next thing to come along was silent movies or talking movies. And talking movies were going to be the next rage. Well, talking movies didn't kill it off. And TV came along. Well, okay, it survived TV. Cable TV came along. Satellite, it survived all that. It survived movies. It survived Netflix. So it's been here a long time, and it's going to be here a while, particularly in Southern California.
Yeah, I tell you, there's some absolutely mind-boggling reports coming out about Southern California average commute time. And it's well over an hour, 15 minutes each way to work. So you're absolutely right, Mitch. People are spending more and more time in their cars, and and to have really high quality content local is brilliant. Now, again, we're going to talk about one of the secrets, which is your passion, which I think, it won't be much longer and that cat will be out of the bag. So let's talk about the franchises that KMET has rights to broadcast. Would you share some of those Southern California teams with the listeners?
Yeah, and I assume you're talking about our pro sports, which is, when you look at the actual amount of airtime we devote to it, it's not a great deal of time. I mean, there's 24 hours in a day, and we might have, a one game on a night or maybe two on a weekend. But it's a big part of what we do in terms of partnership and identifying who we are. We are the ABC News affiliate. We're also the Inland Empire home for the Lakers and the Clippers, world champion Lakers, I should add. Also the LA Rams in the NFL, and Angels baseball in Orange County. So we have 4 pro franchises that we carry. So, for instance, if you tune in later tonight, you'll hear the Laker game. If you tune in on Saturday afternoon, you'll hear the Rams and the Packers playoff game from Green Bay. But those are partnerships we've had for a while, and we, like everything else, we reevaluate them. But again, the Lakers, and particularly the Lakers, have done well for us for years. But they have been on the station, and we've been happy with the Rams, the Clippers, and the Angels. In addition to some of our locally produced stuff as well. But I would say we probably have more sports on than a lot of stations do. But it works for us in the grand scheme of things.
As I mentioned earlier, Yvette and I are focused on really looking at the strengths and the opportunities and very successful businesses in Southern California. And our hat is off to you. Those are incredible franchises. The Angels, the Clippers, the Rams, the Lakers. I mean, those are obviously amazing franchises. And the cat's out of the bag to the listeners. Mitch loves sports and has broadcasted college games and all over the country. Is it East Coast to West Coast that you've traveled, Mitch?
I have done games probably in at least half the states in the country, Daryl. In 30 years, yeah, I would say that's probably true, yeah.
Is it fair to say if Yvette and I accused you of having an excellent, good time each time that you were broadcasting, would that be true?
Most times. I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's fun. I mean, obviously I wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun, but it looks easy, and I think that's why people are attracted to it. But I'll tell you what makes it fun is when you've done your homework, and at the end of a 3-hour broadcast, whether it's a 21-24 game in overtime or whether it's a 30-point blowout, if you at the end of the game, you've done your homework and you've been able to get everything in, and you haven't been throwing any curveballs, and people have listened and got what they need to do out of it. That's what makes you happy, and that's a successful broadcast to me.
It's amazing, those evenly matched teams that are just a battle from start to finish. Do you have the same emotion that I have, that I feel like I need to go home and take a nap after those games? They're such a battle.
They're all different, and I guess we're like everybody else. I go in and I'll look at it, and everybody's got preconceived notions. You think this team should win because of, but it doesn't happen that way all the time. Or something happens to kind of change the course of the game, and that's the thing. You kind of got to roll with it. And I know, you two know from doing an hour of live radio, preparation is everything. Well, football, for example, college football game, if we're doing a U of R football game, if it's a home game, they're going to dress 125 kids. Now, the visiting team's probably going to have 70 or 80. But if Redlands wins, and they win a whole lot more often than they lose, they're going to try to get all 120 of those kids in the game. And rest assured, those kids have parents and family and girlfriends and everybody that are watching and listening to the game but aren't there. So we want to, when they're in the game, we want to make sure we do everything for them that we do for the kids that start too. So you're talking about 200 players, coaches and everything else in the course of 3 hours. It can get a little hectic.
I love
imagine. I love it too. Mitch, can you talk a little bit more about the strategic positioning of the station itself and the reach that it has, being at the center of California?
Definitely. And I love the way you put it, blasting from the center of Southern California. We're actually in our business offices in Redlands. Our transmitter site for the AM is in Banning, and the FM is in Oak Glen. But it really is kind of uniquely situated. And when I got involved with the station, almost 20 years ago, the first thing we thought was, well, it's kind of out there by itself. And at that time it was. It was kind of like everybody else was either in Riverside or San Bernardino. And we gave it some thought. We thought, would we be better if we could relocate or if we could move it? Not a cheap endeavor. But then a funny thing happened. The more we began to look at it, and the more the years went by, the population started to come to us. Beaumont, Yucaipa, that corridor is one of the fastest growing areas of Southern California for new homes. So suddenly we have a situation where, well, we don't really need to move. We can stay where we are, and we're one of the few stations that covers Riverside, San Bernardino, and we reach down onto the west end, and we get to Ontario, Rancho Cucamonga. But we can still hit Victorville. We can still hit the mountain communities. We go out as far as Desert Hot Springs, 29 Palms, and we cover Palm Springs and down south to Temecula. We complete the whole circle. So it is uniquely situated. Somebody knew what they were doing back in 1948 when they applied for that frequency and decided to put it where they did.
Right. And can you speak to the role that online streaming plays in all of this?
Yeah, it's ever growing. Obviously, when people buy new cars, you're going to have that streaming option for their car, which in Southern California is good. But we have people listening right now that aren't in their cars. They're listening at home, or they're at work, or a variety of places. And the streaming is nice because it's just another option if you don't if you don't want to carry a radio. In the old days, everybody carried a transistor radio. Well, now everybody's got a cell phone. So if you go to the website, KMET 1490AM.com, you can listen to the stream on that from anywhere in the world, and it's crystal clear. So if, you don't have to be, there's a little bit of static, for instance, you don't have to put up with that. The other thing is with the mobile apps, you can put the mobile app for KMET on your iPhone or on your Android, and you can listen to the stream right there just at the push of a button. So if somebody wants to listen to your show every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, maybe they're traveling around. Maybe they were in Arizona today, or they're up in Oregon. But with that app or with the streaming, they can push a button. They can listen to it live.
Yep.
Excellent.
So the power of the station to really give beautiful coverage to what we call the Inland Empire and the desert communities, the mountain communities, and then all the way heading to state line and beyond, where they can make their fame and fortune over in wonderful Las Vegas. So no, very, very, really amazing. We learned recently, Yvette and I, that we now have the third largest population in the United States of millennials, and the amount of growth coming out of this amazing engine called Ontario, California, and all the surrounding communities of Ontario. It's just been an amazing job creator. You mentioned Temecula and Rancho Cucamonga and Palm Desert and Indian Wells and Arrowhead and Big Bear and on and on. It's just really amazing how you're absolutely right. The population has come to you, and to have Southern California, we talk about it, that it's fast approaching 25 million. And anybody with a phone, pad, computer, or otherwise can get live radio. And people that know me know that I run around with my Apple device with a big Bluetooth speaker, and I'm carrying it from the house to the car, to the outside, to the inside, and don't miss a beat. And for listeners that are just tuning in, we are here, ABC News and Talk, Southern California Business Report with Mitch McClellan. Am I pronouncing it right, Mitch? I know you as Mitch, and so your last name I always want to make sure I don't mispronounce. McClellan, is that correct?
You're right there, McClellan, just like the Air Force Base or the General, or yeah.
Very nice, very nice. So with that, tell us a little bit about the history of KMET. You shared with Yvette Walker and I some really neat things about the call sign KMET, about the amazing partnership with ABC News and Talk. Can you elaborate on that a little bit for our listeners? And then we promise we will get back and talk about some of your favorite topics.
Sure. Well, the station itself, there are actually two different things. The station, as I said, started in 1948. Licensed up in the Pass area, Beaumont and Banning. What it was and had a variety of call letters, variety of formats, variety of owners over 70 years' time. KMET, which is the call letters we have now and have had for the past almost 15 years, those call letters to anybody that lives in Southern California, but probably my age or older, those are legendary call letters. Those call letters were on one of the biggest freeform FM rock and roll stations in the country, 94.7 FM. And all during the late 70s, let's take that back. All during the 70s and into at least the mid-80s. That thing was a flamethrower. I mean, you had KLOS, you had KMET, and if you grew up in Southern California, you probably listened to both of them. But KMET, those were historic call letters, and when that station changed ownership, got a new format, they gave them up. And then the way the FCC does it is you only get one set of call letters. So if you don't want those call letters, you can apply for any other set of call letters that are available. So I'm sure they went in the book and they found something that worked for them. But as soon as they picked those new call letters and they were granted, KMET's call letters kind of went up, were available for anybody that wanted them. And the owner at the time grabbed them, even though we weren't playing rock and roll, and thought, KMET, that's something we can latch onto. And we've had them ever since. And I have to tell you that there is not a week that goes by that we don't get some kind of an email or a phone call or a letter or some kind of correspondence from somebody that wants to know about the new KMET and the old KMET. Everything from, can I get a Dr. DeMento T-shirt, to, do you guys still play rock and roll? Or we got one from 29 Palms this week. It was a postcard. We got the mail. And it was somebody that just wanted to let us know that they drive from 29 Palms down to Orange County, and they always listen to 1490 on the way. They grew up with the KMET call letters in Los Angeles, and they thought it was very cool that the call letters were still around on a different station that they could still listen to.
That's great. Well, as we've talked before, on the west side, most of the signals are coming off the mountain at Mount Wilson. And I just think it's really exciting that you're blasting right out of the center of Southern California. And as I said, you got the Desert Empire, which I love that term, the Desert Empire now, which is a huge, huge population. Everything from Palm Springs to Palm Desert to La Quinta to Indian Wells to on and on and on. And then beyond, right, all the way to San Diego and that border. And then obviously the Inland Empire to Greater LA, the mountain communities. So just such a central spot to blast that signal. For those that just tuned in, we're here with Mitch McClellan, the General Manager of KMET 1490 ABC News and Talk. We will be back momentarily to get into this a little deeper and let listeners know a little bit more about KMET and Mitch McClellan, General Manager. Be right back.
Join Daryl McCance and Yvette Walker every Tuesday at 3 p.m. on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM, and on the internet at KMET TV. for the Southern California Business Report. The show is dedicated to highlighting successful businesses and the individuals behind them. Daryl and Yvette interview the incredible people managing these enterprises that range from awe-inspiring sole proprietors to world-renowned organizations. The Southern California Business Report. Tuesdays at 3 p.m. on KMET AM and on the internet at KMET TV.
Are you paying rent because you think you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you renting because you don't believe that you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? The Siegel lending team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel lending team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com, license under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Take KMET 1490 AM with you everywhere you go by downloading our free smartphone apps found on the KMET website, KMET1490AM.com. You can also go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store on your phone to download the free app. Now you can listen live or play any of your favorite programmers' podcasts using your smartphone. Go to KMET1490AM.com and download your free phone app today.
Check out the online California Youth Leadership Summit on Saturday, February the 6th from 2 to 5 p.m. Topics for the high school and college panels include climate change, racial equality, gender equity, world peace, and coping with the pandemic. Panel moderators include such celebrities as former NFL quarterback Mark Sanchez and Guinness World Record-holding mountaineer Marin Minamia. It's open to all ages. To register for free, visit www.californiasummit.org. That's www.californiasummit.org.
You're listening to the Southern California Business Report on KMET Radio, 1490 AM, Ontario, Rancho Cucamonga, Redlands, and Palm Springs. ABC News Radio.
Welcome back to the Southern California Business Report with Yvette Walker and myself, Daryl McCance, and our very, very special guest, General Manager, KMET, where we are blasting from the middle of Southern California to the Inland Empire and beyond, and the greater LA and beyond, and the Desert Empire and beyond, and the mountain community and beyond. So we are back with Mitch McClellan, for those that just tuned in, and we are finding out a little bit more about KMET. So with that, Mitch, I would like you to just dig in a little deeper on the ABC News affiliate connection. And you mentioned that has brought a bunch of really neat things in terms of news, really high-quality content, the amazing sports franchises of the Lakers, the Clippers, the Rams, the Angels, and on and on and on. Tell us more. Tell us Yvette and I are always looking for secrets. Can you share any secrets with us with regard to the ABC News and Talk relationship?
I don't know if it's a secret, but it's, we made the decision, I don't know how many years ago now, when it came time to, one thing about radio, things always change. And our news provider at the time they were going to stop doing news at the end of the year. And we were in November, I think, and we had like 5 weeks to make a decision. And it wasn't just us. I mean, there were hundreds of stations across the country that were in the same predicament, deciding, which direction they were going to go for news. And fortunately, ABC reached out to us. And it's just been a great partnership ever since. I think one of the reasons for that, again, for people that know the area, live in the area, all you have to do is, let's start on the TV side. You turn your TV on. I've seen the numbers, I can tell you. Since the 1970s, there has been one dominant news station in Southern California for TV news, and it's been KABC Channel 7, which is the ABC TV affiliate. Now, for anybody that lives in Los Angeles or the Inland Empire, you've seen their news. So that's a familiar brand to you. You know that 7 in the corner of the screen. For everybody that lives down in Palm Springs, in that market, it's really the same situation. It's not Channel 7, but it's Channel 3, KESQ. They brand themselves News Channel 3, but they are the ABC affiliate down there. And they have just as much of a share of the audience and a strength in the market and a history as KBC does in Los Angeles. So it was really a no-brainer for us. When we were sitting there, we thought, well, we've got the two dominant TV stations in each market, to the west and to the east of us, are both ABC. And when we had a chance to pick up ABC News, we thought, well, okay, there's not obviously an ABC TV station in Riverside, San Bernardino, but we can be the radio affiliate, and we can partner, with the network on a number of different things. So, long story short, that's really why we decided to do it. Now, a lot of stations have gotten away from news. We actually decided to emphasize it because with ABC, at the top of each hour, you'll hear, a 6-minute package. You'll hear news, some commercials, and we usually follow it up with local weather at the end. But that's our top of the hour, most hours during the day. At the bottom of the hour, we worked with California headline news. So a lot of hours at the bottom of the hour, if we take a break, particularly during the middays, you'll hear a 2-hour local or regional newscast from California headline news. And that complements ABC perfectly because we've got the international and the international and the national news with them, and the regional and the local news with California headline news combined with the weather. So it's just a good fit. People have told us, from listeners have told us they like it. So I think we're on the right track there.
Absolutely, Mitch, and you can tell through your variety of content on KMET now that you get the fact that content is king. With that said, how would you describe quality content, and how do you see that evolving in the next 5-10 years?
Well, I think it is evolving. I think you make a great point because, 10 years ago, we were running a radio station and we were doing radio shows. That is still what we're doing, but we're basically, we're creating content, whether it's live on the radio, whether it's people listening on the stream, whether it's people on a podcast later on demand, or people watching, a video clip of the entire show, or something on YouTube. It's all content. So the people that, spend the time, make the effort, content is always going to win. And if it's local, better still. So, that's where our interests lie. And we get approached by a lot of people. There's not a week goes by, our marketing guy, Bill, couldn't tell you how many people reach out to us that want to be on the station. Well, some are good fits, some are not as good. So it's always kind of a balancing act. But content always wins, and honestly, the thing that we have found, which took some time, the market is different. Radio as a whole, it's a lot different now than it was 10 or 15 years ago. And honestly, it usually changes a little bit after each election cycle. One of the things that took us a while to find is, like a lot of stations, I think people are just tired of hearing about politics. There's plenty of it out there. If you want to watch it, if you want to listen to it, there's certainly options to do that. But we're hearing increasingly from people that don't necessarily want that. At least they don't want it all day long. So we've tried to balance that. We made a conscious effort to, yes, we still have some, but yes, we have some help shows that help people. We have some financial shows. We have the sports. We have the news. And that seems to be really what people want. If you can appeal to your audience, and once they find you and they know you're there, if you give them the content, they're going to stay with you.
Well, I agree with you, Mitch, that, variety is the spice of life. And Yvette and I, we're obviously focused on success, positivity, what's really working out there. And all three of us on the phone, or actually on air right now, are natives of Southern California. And we're very proud of Southern California, and we're amazed by the growth and the increase in population and business and as Wayne Gretzky said, it's not where the ball is, it's where the ball is going. And the fact that you had the wisdom and the foresight to really build something very special that is broadcasting right out of the center of Southern California and really gives people high quality news, high quality live talk. You've integrated in a national program, which is Dave Ramsey. I just can't say enough great about Dave Ramsey. Just very high quality content. And then, as we said, sports, which we know you have a special love for. And the fact that you are jumping in, even though you are, for people who just tuned in, the general manager, KMET, Mitch McClellan. And so to put that really nice variety of high quality content, as Yvette just said, 24/7, 365, a tip of the hat to you. It's just, and I couldn't agree with you more. I think now more than ever, people need positivity. We have so much to be thankful for. We're in one of the most desirable places on planet Earth to live. Southern California is just an amazing location. If you want the mountains with the snow is over there. If you want the beautiful desert, high desert, low desert, Palm Springs, the whole Coachella Valley. You want to go to the wine country, go enjoy Temecula and see the hot air balloons, or Orange County, go and enjoy a day at the beach. It's just an amazing amount of wisdom that I think that you and your team had to have the foresight to really put this in place to hit this area that's just growing. From month to month, you drive around and it's, where did that come from? Where did that shopping center come from? Where did those 1,000 homes come from? And it's just over the top. So just to follow up on what Yvette was saying, anything more on the ABC News? Because I grew up watching, as we've talked before, Jerry Dunphy from the desert to the sea, all of Southern California. I've only experienced that about 1 million times, and I loved his positivity, and I think that he really made a mark. And I agree with you completely, Mitch, that the ABC brand in Southern California is number one. And thanks to you and your team, I think we're going to see more and more excitement and growth. And any other secrets that Yvette and I can get out of you?
Well, the other thing I would say is, we're somewhat fortunate. I guess it probably would depend on who you talk to. We have this great area that we live in. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of the programs that we're starting to get now, or at least people that are reaching out to us, are not just local. I mean, we're getting people that they see the location and they want to be able to tell their audience or their advertisers, we're also on in Southern California. You can hear us in Palm Springs, or you can hear us in the Inland Empire. We're in the 25th biggest market in the country, in addition to being on the East Coast or in the Midwest. So when people take a look, I think people go to our website or they find out about us and they take a closer look and they're like, oh, that's a market I want to be in. It's vibrant, it's growing. It's a little easier now but it's not so we have to explain the Inland Empire anymore. People know it's here. People know what it's about, and when they do a little bit of research, they're like, oh, I want to be part of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and because all three of us grew up here, I think sometimes it's even hard for us to believe that some of the most successful people in the world have their second homes in the Coachella Valley, in the their desert home, and some of the most successful people in the world have their home up in Lake Arrowhead and Big Bear and all the beautiful mountain communities, in addition to all of the people that are living here year-round, live, work, and enjoy the region. So you've got this really dynamic, multifaceted listener, if you will, that you just don't know where they're coming from. They could be on vacation for a couple of weeks there at the Marriott or the Ritz-Carlton, or we just became aware of a 5-star hotel. It's a little secret, but there's a little 5-star hotel that's about to be built right next to the Ontario International Airport. They obviously just finished their brand new Porsche dealership out there next to the brand new Mercedes dealership, next to the brand new Audi dealership, and on and on and on. It just never ends. So it's just interesting to see so much new, all the above, whether it's the logistics, commercial, industrial, residential, second homes, primary homes, investment, planned communities. It's really shocking, not to mention the retirement communities that are just amazing. Some of these retirement communities are just over the top. So,
and I got to tell you, you and I are both big fans, I think, of Ontario Airport. I think it's, one of the benefits to living here is, we, like you said, we grew up here. So we remember having to drive to LAX or Burbank or somewhere to get a flight out because maybe we couldn't get a nonstop. Well, that's not the case anymore. It's like, you can pretty much, drive to Ontario, put the car in the park and fly, or have somebody drop you off and get a flight out of there. And that's exciting for me. And I think the more that we get, that airport's going to be a powerhouse. I mean, I know everybody talks about the commercial flights, and those are the ones that we're interested in as business people or tourists. But just the amount of cargo that's coming in to that place, and the fact that they've got so much room to grow, that's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, Yvette Walker and I recently had Mark Thorpe on, the CEO of the Ontario International Airport, and just the more he talked, I felt like my IQ was going up. It's like, wow, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. The only airport on the West Coast that's allowed to receive the new vaccine that everybody is excited about, the new 20 million square foot Amazon logistical center there that is, in concert back and forth with Seattle. And so, no, it's just, it's really very, very exciting. And we're very excited to have you on air. Those that just tuned in, we are with the general manager of KMET, Mitch McClellan, who is blasting his signal in the middle of Southern California. And as we said earlier, to the south of him, we got the Temecula Valley in Orange County. To the east, we've got what I love to say, the Desert Empire, all the way to San Diego. And then to his west, the Inland Empire in the greater LA area, and on and on. And then to the north, the mountain communities, Lake Arrowhead, Big Bear, Running Springs, and all the beautiful mountain communities all the way out to State Line. People are enjoying KMET. And Mitch McClellan, general manager, has just advised us that they are focused on three things: very high quality news, very high quality live talk programming daily, and lastly, sports. So we know, Yvette Walker and I know, you love sports, Mitch. So let's not cheat you out of that. And you have enjoyed going nationwide broadcasting games in addition to your responsibilities as general manager. What do you broadcast most? We'll say the number one. Is it college football?
Probably in sheer numbers of games, it would be college basketball. But I got to tell you, I have not been at a stadium doing a game since March because of everything that's been happening. But yeah, in an average, this will be my busy time of year. Normally, we would be right in the heart of college basketball season. But for me, it usually starts in August with football. We've got a football game every week until we get to the end of November, and then November is like transition season. There's a lot of weeks we've got one or two basketball games during the week and then a football game on a Saturday. But then basketball, 2 or 3 games a week will get us all the way through in a good year till the end of March. So that's a quick 7 months. You start in August and then suddenly it's like you blink your eyes and it's like, oh, gee, April's here.
So when you're in the little college town of Claremont, California, you mentioned recently that you enjoy going over there and enjoying that beautiful downtown. And when you are you doing mostly football, or is that basketball and football?
Yeah,
and
when we're in like an old town, Claremont or Pomona, it's usually University of Redlands football at Claremont College or at Pomona Pitzer. We'll do some. We have Cal State San Bernardino basketball at Cal Poly Pomona. That's obviously a little further down the road. But yeah, we get to Old Town Claremont at least, once or twice a year, and that's a great area too. I mean, you talk about all the great areas. You could make a whole list up, and you'd probably have 2 or 3 on that list that a lot of people would say, "Oh, I haven't been there." And Old Town Claremont's one of the best kept secrets around.
Well, we focus on all of Southern California. There's secrets all over the place, from Old Town Claremont to Carlsbad to every direction. We're just, it's, as we talked last week, it's interesting how Southern California has become one entity where you go back in the time machine 10 years ago, 15, 20, it was a long drive out to this area and a long drive out to that area and a long drive to that area. But between the cars getting faster, quieter, and everything merging together, you don't know when you're in one community and leaving the other community. It's all just blended in. And we have that small little population of nearly 25 million. And it's just, we're very, very fortunate. Now, besides the college football and basketball and the other broadcast responsibilities you have, what else about broadcasting brings Mitch McClellan, the general manager of KMET, a lot of pleasure? What's your next secret?
On average, Yvette mentioned on the open, I like to travel. Now, a lot of that is obviously in conjunction with the sports, but I just, I've always been one of those people. I'm not a big fan of just, sitting at home on a weekend, or, now there's something on, don't get me wrong, if USC's playing Notre Dame and I'm not working, I'm going to be sitting somewhere watching it. But, on an average, if it's not sports related, I still like to get out. I mean, we're blessed, whether we've got the mountains, or whether I'm down in, the desert area for the weekend with golf or anything else, or the beaches, or the wineries. There's just so much to do around here. You'd be ashamed to stay in your house and miss all that, I think.
Okay, since you say you enjoy traveling, share with the audience, how many weeks a year are you traveling? In an average year, when I say traveling, I'd say, let's say I'm on the road, I'm in a hotel 2 nights a week. I would say probably 40, maybe 45 at the most. Wow, that's
somewhere around there. I think it's usually around.
That's a lot of frequent flyer miles.
It's around 200 nights a year. Yeah, a lot of frequent flyer miles, and that's one of the reasons I'm glad Ontario's getting more nonstop flights, because for every San Francisco or Las Vegas or Phoenix that we fly to, we've got a Chico State or a Humboldt State that you can't fly directly to, so it balances out.
Absolutely. And so with all that said, we've covered what makes KMET unique to the region, the opportunities that exist, and your love for what it is that you do. Mitch, can you share with us what you would envision for KMET moving forward and the role that it plays blasting out of the center of Southern California?
I think we've got, we're uniquely positioned, and this market, again, not to emphasize unique, but Riverside, San Bernardino, Ontario, that whole, and everything between Los Angeles, let's say downtown LA, and down to Palm Springs, is always going to be underserved on the TV side. For the simple reason that it's never going to be its own TV market, because it's too big. If it was going to be its own TV market, it would have happened 20 or 30 years ago. It's so big now that the LA stations are never going to give it up. They're always going to claim it. Well, I get that. I understand it, but that's a huge market to serve. You're talking about Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, all the way out to Palm Springs. So their focus is always going to be primarily on Los Angeles. If it happens in the Inland Empire and it's big enough, they're going to send a crew out and they're going to cover it. Our advantage is we're not competing with them on a regular basis. So if we have a company or somebody with a story to tell that's compelling and they're right here, well, the fact that they're local is obviously going to prioritize it for us. But it's like they'd have to beg an LA station to come out. and tell their story, or they might get 10 or 15 minutes on a program, but they'd never get a full hour. So I think one of the things that's compelling and I'm looking forward to is as we continue to grow out here, we're going to have more amazing stories to tell. And who's going to do them? Well, it's not going to be the people that are 100 miles away. It's going to be the people in their own backyard here. And we've got a number of ways to do it, whether it's on the radio, the internet, a podcast, or by video. We're just going to continue to expand the platforms that we have to tell that story. But what we found out is people want content. And if you've got a good story, all you need is a way to share it, and we're hopefully providing that platform for people.
Well, Mitch, I can't thank you enough. I mean, this has been really good. The reason Yvette Walker and I are so excited about KMET, ABC News and Talk in this region is now everybody knows. The listeners are hearing and getting it firsthand from the same individual that Yvette Walker and I received it firsthand from, and that is Mitch and McClellan, General Manager, KMET, ABC News and Talk here in the center of Southern California, blasting his signal east, west, north, and south. And Mitch, is there any question that we didn't ask that you would like for us to cover? We're getting down towards the end, and we don't want to cheat you out of anything that
I think,
that you think is exciting.
All I will tell you is when I got done with my junior college years, quickly, I had a choice, and my choice was go to Fresno and do minor league baseball, or go to what turned out to be the University of Redlands and do college football. And I have never regretted the decision I've made. I feel a little bit bad for kids now that want to get into radio because the opportunities aren't nearly as great as they were in the past. But I would tell anybody that whether you're growing up and you want a career in radio, or whether you've got a business and you've always wanted to do your own talk show, if the passion is there, there's a way for you to do it.
Yep. Get a hold of Mitch McClellan at KMET if you're one of those individuals that would love to be in radio. And as Yvette's always reminding me, since she has a background that's far deeper than I in all of these social mediums and podcasts, and we're obviously broadcasting live now, but it can be heard anytime on demand. And Yvette, you want to talk about that for a minute?
Absolutely. So in terms of Southern California Business Report, we can be found on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So don't forget, when you're on any of those platforms, look for us, like us, check out our content. All of these interviews are uploaded to YouTube and shared on our Facebook page and across all of those mediums. And when you have an opportunity, take a look at our website. It's scbrtalk.com. That's scbrtalk.com. And there you will find the links to all of our social media platforms with recordings from past shows. So I hope that you will take a look at that and share with your friends.
And how should listeners download the app?
Well, they can go to Google and download the KMET app just like I did.
And how about the app for Apple?
Well, the same way, you go to the App Store, you look for KMET, and you download it. I have it on my phone. I have it on my desktop. And as soon as I get in my car, I play it on Bluetooth. So I just love it. I'm not like you, Daryl. I don't carry a speaker around, but I will use my Bluetooth to connect. I feel like in the old days, in the 80s, we had the boom box, but now it's about the size of a loaf of bread. We're down to the final seconds, and we cannot thank Mitch McClellan, General Manager, KMET AM 1490, part of the ABC News and Talk programming. And Mitch, thank you so much. Really appreciate coming on, and we will wish everybody a great rest of your drive if you're listening to us on the road or wherever you're listening to us. Have a great day, and thanks for tuning in.
This has been the Southern California Business Report with Daryl McCance and Yvette Walker on KMET 1490 AM ABC News Radio, a show dedicated to highlighting successful Southern California businesses and the people behind them. Log on to the show's website and remember to visit the podcast page.
Take KMET 1490 AM with you everywhere you go by downloading our free smartphone apps found on the KMET website, KMET 1490 AM.